4, 3, 2. Damn, I'll just say go. Go.
Yo, we live, baby. What the fuck, Sacramento? God damn it. Another week, about the night, episode 17, and it was one hell of a fucking weekend, man. I'll definitely say that for people of Sacramento. You know, you're rocking with the best crew. We got my boy Tony behind the ones and twos, my boy Rob to my right. Unfortunately, our guy Warren could not be here as he had a flight delay from Cancun, living it up, taking about the night on the streets. That's how we do. A lot of people are hurting this weekend, man, physically and mentally. Folks of Sacramento, our thoughts and hearts go out to all of those that are suffering from being affected by the shooting this weekend. It was a senseless shooting. Had a lot of people pissed off, a lot of people hot, a lot of things that we can dive into and talk about. But first, let's go ahead and take just a quick moment of silence to pay tribute to the ones that did lose their lives over this weekend. Oh, God, man, this is the biggest downtown fallout that I've ever seen or heard from. Rob, how you feeling?
Blessed to be alive.
Facts.
But like you said, and you just started off, hearts with the families.
Man.
The ones left behind. It was a chaotic event, and it's a sad time right now in the city.
Seriously. People of Sacramento, we are here with you for the families that are definitely going through it without proper answers to everything right now. We're here for you. You're definitely in our thoughts, in our prayers, and just stay strong through this tough period of time. So we're obviously talking about this past weekend, Saturday night / early Sunday morning, where the souls of 6 people were murdered and a dozen wounded, and still, to this very moment as we speak, are fighting for their life. We live in and I love my town of Sacramento. So, man, just to see this is heart-wrenching, and it hurts me. It hurts on a different level, and I can't even explain that level. But, Tony, man, let's go ahead and play just a brief highlight of what took place this weekend, and we'll kind of dive into it after that. What we're seeing is basically an altercation. This altercation has nothing to do with the shooting at all. Nothing to do with it. But you're able to hear how wild it was.
Gunshots almost sound like they were going down the alleyway.
Yeah, there was a brief moment when they're trying to catch your picture, and you can see a vehicle driving away, and you can hear the shots clear as day. And it just doesn't stop. It didn't stop. Man, this is what I have to say about it, and I'm going to try to keep it brief, and I'm going to try to keep this short, but at the same time being respectable. They said they found over 100 shell casings. Bro, that has to be the most reckless thing I've ever seen anybody do. Not care about innocent people, innocent bystanders, regardless if they're innocent or not caring about what the hell you were doing. You're just out there senselessly thinking that it's cool. And I'm sorry, once again, I shouldn't be angry. I shouldn't be upset. Well, obviously, I have every right to be because I was there. But, man, it was senseless. You didn't care about what was around you. You know what I mean? And, I mean, there's people who are now realizing that, was wondering why I didn't get that call, or where's she at? She ghosted us. Why? Because somebody was stupid and reckless. I'm sorry. Once again, I know I shouldn't be.
When the bullet leaves that gun, man, it ain't got no name.
It ain't got no name, and I know we said that before. I know you've heard it before on this show.
And that's why the person behind that gun's gotta, they in charge at that moment. And I don't think it's thought like that. My thoughts on it, it's mainly with the people, being there in the situation, having experienced it. It's made me, as far as talking on this show, and I know there's a lot of platforms and forums out there, a lot of podcast channels and things like that, other news outlets that are, doing a rundown of exactly what happened and kind of giving this, this blueprint of what transpired, late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. If you came here for that, I'm not about to give you that. So you might as well just log off.
Facts.
I'm not giving anybody just some play-by-play. I've talked to people over the phone and had my conversations with people that I feel like, cared enough about me to check in on me because I was out there. But I'm not about to do that on these airwaves. I'm not, and mainly my sentiment on that is because of the respect and sensitivity that I have for the families of the people, because I was with a lot of these people in their last moments. And I'm not about to give any type of rundown of exactly what happened. I really could care less about the gang politics behind it and any of that type of stuff. I really don't give a damn.
Right.
Lives were lost. People were hurt. The people left behind are grieving at this moment, or they're with the loved ones that are still fighting for their lives or recovering from injuries and things like that. And right now, I just think we need to, everyone's going to try to point to a reason why this went on, we got to look at ourselves. It's the people. You
right.
It's you can say, the people that are saying, "Oh, it's the guns, it's the guns, it's the guns." Man, if it wasn't the guns, man, it'd be knives. If it wasn't knives, man, it would be billy clubs or whatever other weapon you could come up with. So stop trying to shift the blame. We got to start looking at ourselves internally, and think about what we're doing. For myself, just as security, as being out there, it was, definitely a surreal moment in time. But I'm just glad I was able to make sure that I had my head straight and I was trying to help as many people as I could in that situation, whether that be, getting people under cover or, behind cover, out of harm's way. And then also trying to help with the people that were wounded or, and hit. So, and also consoling ones that were distraught, but yeah, Tony, what you got to say on it, man?
I don't know, man. It's tragic. I mean, we've worked security so many nights. To me, it was mind blowing that, could you have prevented it? You can't prevent things like this. People want to say gun violence. People want to say this and that. To me, to me personally, I feel it's more gang violence. You know what I mean? Than gun violence, because a gun's just a tool, and if someone's gonna do something, they're gonna do it regardless. And it sucks because in this situation, of course, because it was guns, they were able to shoot multiple times. Guns that were obviously illegal because they were automatic. You know what I mean? So ain't no law you can make to get rid of it. So when city council members go up there and say, enough is enough, let's change it. I'm sorry. What you mean change it? Like, you ain't going to create some law that's going to they criminals. They're going to break it regardless. They have that gun because they have that gun. This is what they do.
Right.
But it's this whole, we just got to start watching out for these super gremlins.
Gremlins.
Super gremlins. You know what that is, right? I just learned it, bro. This term came out of nowhere. Me and my girl was talking about this last month. Sorry, I'm trying to actually search it in the middle of that right before you asked me.
When you say super gremlins, I think of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Batman, Mr. Freeze. You talking gremlins like that? I mean Joker,
No. Yeah,
gremlins. Elaborate on what you mean by that.
So I'll elaborate on it, no problem.
Super gremlins.
Right, super gremlins, man. And really, I put it on the screen for y'all to see right now. Hold on real quick. Gosh, too much I got to do up here, bro. Let's see.
Super Gremlin.
You put it back on you, Winter, real quick while I look this up.
Someone who gives zero fucks about anything. It's the definition of a super gremlin.
Yes.
They do whatever they want, whenever they want, wherever they want.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. What's crazy is, I know we've all been at that point in our life when we ain't have no responsibilities. You know, you were just trying to make money. You're not giving giving zero fucks as stated. But this is different. You can't do what you did and give zero fucks, bro.
But that's
you can't.
But in a world that's full of free choice, and free will,
shit.
That's what we're dealt with. Everybody has that free choice and that free will, and that's why I say, man, it begins with the person. It begins with the people, and this podcast, any other platform that's talking about this or talking about any type of violence, a tragic event that's happening in a city, you're never going to be able to change it fully. That's just the reality of it. And that's just something we're dealing with. But what we can hope for is that maybe what we talking about and the hurt that's being displayed might touch somebody for that, or maybe they're on the fence of doing an act like this,
right?
And maybe that gets them to change their mind.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And so that's lives saved, even though we can't see it. There's no statistic to show it. There's no barometer. It's not tangible.
Do you feel like it's the ones that be barking that though? That be saying, "Hey, I got a chopper in the car," blah blah blah. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like watch for these super gremlins. Like watch for these.
I mean, but you a lot of that is masked though. Like you got to understand. You never know when someone is really about it and who's not. So there's a lot of, because you got to understand. Like I mean, in all honesty, hip hop has done that. A lot of other different things, movies, film, music. A lot of these things have influenced us to the point where a lot of people get gravitated toward this hard lifestyle and wanting to be something that they're not, because I mean, think about it. Like how many people listen to hip hop but they really ain't about what these guys are talking about, the lyrics. Even the guys that's spitting it ain't even about what they talking about in the lyrics.
Right.
It's all entertainment. It's turned to entertainment. So you have a situation where there's people that are really about this and they do this for a living, which is obviously what just transpired. And then you got people who's acting on it. So but the thing about it is, they're masked very well. A lot of times you never know who you're dealing with. You're dealing with somebody that is gonna do something about it or not. And sometimes you run into people who are really not about it, but they're so compelled to want to prove something that they make that decision anyway, just because they want somebody to think that they real.
They want
somebody to say
right
that they willing to do it, or to be, as you just stated, being a super gremlin. But I'll say this, man, and I don't want to spend too much time on this side of the topic. For me, it's really just about the people that's left behind. What was experienced really comes down. It's lives being lost, and just being there with these people in their last moments. And trying to attend to people that were wounded and things like that. Like it's at that point you don't care who's affiliated with what or why they're there or who they're. It doesn't matter. Everybody's there in a different situation. We're trying to focus on trying to get them the best help as fast as we can and do whatever we can in that moment that we're physically and mentally capable of doing. And that's all you're thinking about, or at least that's all I was thinking about. But I just, just my heart just goes out to a lot of the parents and the siblings and friends and other family members that, that are grieving right now. That's kind of where I'm at, and that's kind of where my headspace is. And I hope they find that comfort in this moment, as impossible as that might be. To even fathom.
It's irritating because it's so senseless. It was 3 guys and 3 girls that died, correct? And it's like they weren't
more wounded. It was I think it got to the 20s as far as how many people total were
right. And it's like hit. They weren't even a part of that. They weren't even a part of what was going on. How senseless is that, bro? You like
one of the girls just turned 21, was there for a concert.
That's Tyler the Creator?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it was the only one that was lit that night. Let me tell it my side, because, bro, I mean, we was turned up all night, and if you guys saw it, you saw it. You know, we was outside. Like we always are, bro. I mean, I've been clubbing in Sacramento for years now. I used to go out Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, religiously, week in and week out. It wasn't like I was skipping a week. Nah, we was religiously going, and not every night was the plush, simple night. Sometimes it was gritty and gritty, but in these situations, no one's really clapped at, bro. There's fights, those go on. You fight somebody, you get knocked out. Well, you live to fight another day. Recently, and I'm just saying me personally because I am that person who's always out.
Real quick, just because it kind of does correlate with what you're talking about. Swag Daddy does say stay strapped or stay at home nowadays.
Bro, I said it on mine. I mean,
so that's basically you're going with the being judged by 12 then being carried by 6 type of thing.
Right.
That's what it sounds like.
It's like you want to be fearful to go out, so you go out strapped.
So rather, you basically taking the risk of, I might get caught with it, catch a case on it, have to do some time, rather than be, 6 feet under.
Right. Act right. You wouldn't have to think about that, right?
To me, it starts deeper than that. So you're trying to take a preventative measure in which you need to start going more towards the heart of the person, and you also have to go at the circumstances, because a lot of anyone that's been, either you grew up in the streets or you grew up around the streets or whatever the case may be, you understand that these type of actions breed in areas where there is no hope. So you have to. So the circumstances plays a part in it, because only a certain percentage of people have the mindset and the willpower to get out of that.
Right.
Despite those circumstances. And shout out to them, because at the end of the day, everyone's dealt a hand, and you got to do best with that. Mm-hmm. But not everybody reacts the same way with that same hand that they're dealt. You know what I mean? Everybody deals with it differently. Even, that's why when people do success stories, man, there's all these success, but with all these people that's still stuck in it,
right,
that's still in the mud. Mm-hmm. So we also have to change the circumstances and start changing the trajectory of what people want to strive for, so they don't have to result to stuff like this. That's a much bigger macro issue, but that's where it starts at. And if you want to do anything about it, that's the source. To the person that commented, you're basically taking a preventative measure based on the reality that we're living in, right, or what we just experienced this past weekend. And so I can't say that person's wrong or right. Mm-hmm. Like it's hard to argue to some degree, but at this moment, it's not everyone's going to have that option. Not everybody's going to stay strapped. The 21-year-old girl that's out there is not going to do that. Right. They out there just trying to have a good time, being 21.
As we all should.
So that advice can't apply to everyone.
Right.
Or now, even people that do it in a law-abiding way. If you get your CCW, you can't drink.
Right. So we can do that. So the ones that, if you with it and you into that lifestyle and you into that world, then that might be some advice you might want to be willing to listen to. But not everybody's going to be able to take that advice. And also for staff, anybody that's working in that life, right, we can't carry it on us. So it's a situation where that's not going to 100% solve the issue, right, in that in that form or in that way.
Great.
But I appreciate the comment.
Yeah, great question.
I mean,
real quick, what I'm kind of worried about is, because typically we've ran those bars. We've done security at almost every bar here,
right?
And I'm shocked, because at that same corner, I've always seen cops parked right there. To me, when it comes to Sacramento, you talk about preventative measures. Don't come up with some law, some rule. Stop bunching up all your units in one area. Put 2 in every area. Why? It's a deterrent. I don't believe they would have. If the cop cars were there like they typically are in that exact same spot, where the shooting happened. I don't
point.
believe
we're actually
Great
gonna get
point.
to that. But you bringing up a good point.
and I do want to talk about like what happens now in Sacramento. You know
Well,
what I
we
mean?
got
After
that
this.
coming up too.
So,
Let me get back to what I was saying because I was there that night. I'm outside, and bro, it was a good vibe outside. I'm not sure who was there, but I'm there on that same exact corner. There's a bunch of people outside.
you got social, right?
I mean, you don't supposed to say the name, bro. No names.
I mean,
But yes.
it's next to
Yes.
But yes.
All right. But ultimately, I'm there. And, you know, man, I got a group of people with me. My guys with gangs. We chilled up. We cool, right? We grabbing.
You strapped?
Nah, I'm not strapped. I'm not strapped. For one, that's a big target. I already got a big target on my back, right? You know, so in general,
Tried to take
I'm
the
not
king
strapped,
out.
but I had a good ass time, bro. All night. No fights inside. We get outside. No fights outside. It was just hella people. One time, one specific area. At that moment, swear to you, I don't know what it was, but if it were 30 seconds more, let's even say 60 seconds more, bro, I could have been caught up in the shit. Anyone there who was having a good ass time, chilling, minding their own damn business, could have been hit at any damn time. And that is the scariest part for me.
Yeah.
I ain't have nothing to do with your affiliation, but because we're in a specific area at a specific time, we could have got hit. It's scary. Mentally now, there's a lot of things that people have to mentally go through. Me personally, we were supposed to be Cabana side. My boy still was Cabana side at the Sawyer the next day. I didn't want to go outside.
Really?
I didn't want to go outside, bro. I didn't want to go back downtown, back to the area that I just came from, knowing that I could have been an innocent bystander. My son would have been Bruce Wayne without the money.
I understand what you thinking about.
You know,
what as far as with your son, because I did the same thing. My reaction, I didn't get home late, you know, from that night, just based on everything that was going on, and you know, and everything. But as soon as I did get home, the first thing I did was, you know, wake my son up, and I was giving him a hug, and he was so confused, like, cause he was just like, "What? Like, you just woke me up, Dad?"
Right.
And I just was hugging him, and was just saying I love him, and because it could have been that close.
It was that close.
It was more than that close.
Yeah, bro.
And so even me going through that, and this is not the first time
You actually got blood on
it. Yeah, I had on my gloves. You know, I realized once I got home, it was on my gloves and everything. You know, that's not the first time me being involved in a situation similar, you know, with some type of gunfire involved, but you know, it's still, even with me going through that in past situations, I'm not going to let, fear is not going to drive me. Now, I'm not a person who goes out, you know, as far as partying, like I just don't go that often. You know what I mean? It's very sparingly, you know what I mean? But I do work every weekend, you know, you know, doing security. So I'm out there. I'm not partying, but I'm out there doing my job.
You out there.
And I don't see that. I'm not going to let fear dictate my decision. If I choose not to do it anymore, that's going to be on my own decision. It's not going to be based off of this or any other type of event. At the end of the day, and a lot of people saying, well, you know, it could be next time. You might not be so lucky. You might be right.
Right.
But I can't let fear drive me and start making those decisions for me. I got to be able to live my life and do what I got to do. And everything that happened, you know, I would do again, as far as when you know, everything that transpired and went down that night, I would do the same. It's just when you talk about, you know, being, you know, there's a lot of people are sharing that same sentiment that you just said, you know, that people are going to be, you know, hesitant about going out and partying,
right,
and things like that.
That's a huge one.
And I can understand that, and I can appreciate that. Everybody's going to have their own. Everybody deals with these type of traumas in their own way.
Right.
You know, everybody grieves their own way. You know, and so you can't say that, oh well, this is the way you do it. I'm just saying, for me, I'm just not going to let fear dictate my decisions.
Quick question, Rob. So, Vision Hendricks kind of just said, tired of seeing live by the sword, die by the sword. As a community, The hurt that everyone is feeling right now hopefully sparks the unity necessary to let the kids grow up.
What he just said there is huge. Because like I said, man, when I was growing up partying, we weren't worried about that. We weren't worried about guns being at the party. Now I feel like the future that is coming up, they're going to have to probably think about that. The question that was said earlier, come out strapped up or, stay at home. How are people going to want to go out in Sacramento and have fun? We were just on the rise, Sac. We were in the middle of this rise, bro. People are out. People are supporting small businesses. People are trying to be out and have fun. And then this shit happens.
But do you think it's different? Honestly.
Think what's different?
I'll be honest. I just think that this event has just kind of put up a mirror. I don't think you got to understand, especially with anyone that's involved or anyone that's in that type of world, this is every day for them.
Yeah.
So you can't say like this might not be new to them. Yeah, it might be new to some people that was down that happen to be downtown, but this might be real life everyday shit.
It is real life day
that they deal with. The problem is that real life everyday shit spilled over into people who not with that type of thing,
and that's
not with that world, who don't live by the same rules.
So the news was trying to portray that it was a fight that happened, and then it spilled over into gun shooting afterwards. But we understand, a lot of us
that's
understand
absolutely false.
That is false. That this was some like Drake 21 Savage song, gang shit. That's all I'm on. It was that shit. You know what I mean?
The fight was just something that happened that got people's cameras out at the right time, because then that's when the shooting happened, which was once again nothing related to the fight whatsoever. But back to what you were saying, it changes because yes, this shit does go on daily in their hoods, on their blocks usually, and it doesn't get talked about. Why? Because it's in a gutter area. It's a hood area where people aren't really going to go to.
That's nothing new.
It's because they assume that it's nothing new. It's a big deal now because this is happening in a public area where innocent bystanders are now hit, involved with this gang-related affiliation in a city that's trying to grow the downtown community. I mean, if you haven't seen things growing in downtown in the last year, they're trying to turn it. They're trying to make it a destination location for people to come. Why are they doing all this? Why? They want people to come. They want people to stay the night. They want them to spend money here in Sacramento. We got a new arena. We got new convention center. We got new hotels that are popping up everywhere. They want people to come here. They are. But now, with this being some national news about what? Sacramento. Now people are like, do I really want to go there? Is it really fun to go there, or do I have to worry be walking down the street that I could be an innocent bystander, a part of a
we got Mike
shooting?
Bibby.
I see your sentiment on it in the sense of Sacramento on the come up.
Right.
Sacramento doesn't have the appeal of a L.A. or Las Vegas
or even a Bay
or New York, or Miami. So even though in those areas, that's a part of life. That goes on all the time, just like any other major city. But I guess you would say the ambiance and the fun will outweigh those concerns, because those cities have so much more to offer. And Sacramento trying to be a city that's on the come up and trying to, build itself up to be one of those cities that's enticing and incentivized to come and have a good time. I can understand that this is definitely had it take a step back.
Right.
It definitely hasn't improved that image with this, and it's one of those cities that can't afford to have a situation like this. When it's trying to strive and get to that level.
So real quick, just with the comments I just posted, Vision does say, damn true, that was targeted. No one rolls around with that much heat on them randomly. So what's crazy is that we're talking about Sacramento nightlife right now. We're talking about like how it's going to affect Sacramento nightlife. And this was a situation that probably would have happened regardless. Regardless if people were partying, they could have shut down all the clubs, and this situation might have happened on that corner.
And that's crazy.
That's
a perfect thing you just said, and that's really that's a segue into our first topic that we want to kind of discuss,
which is simply the purpose or the importance of security clearing the street after the venues or bars let out. It is huge. That is our topic right there. The purpose and the importance of security clearing the street. And I say it this way slowly and 2 times because I know at the end of the night, people hate it. When I'm like, all right, guys, move down the street, go across the street, go down the street. They hate it when we're in their face because all they want to do is sit there and chill.
I'm a practicing attorney. You can't push me off the street because XYZ. I swear to God, I want to grab you by your legs and drag you across your fucking back, your shoulder blades, and make scabs, bitch.
They fight and they argue that, right?
Oh, God, I'm so tired
The
of that
sidewalk is technically public property. You can't tell us to leave here. No, you're right. You probably are right. But for code enforcement, what are they called? Entertainment police, they ask and they require us to clear any pedestrians in front of the venue after hours.
And to say that what you just said, I think what people miss, and as you just said, we deal with the lawyers all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Saying this is public property. I can stand here. All this, good body nonsense. Fine, that's your opinion, and you're probably right, as you stated. I think what people are missing is the reason. The reason why it's so important that we push, especially as security. And we're the catalyst. We're the ones actually enforcing it. We're the ones that are actually trying to actually initiate the push and trying to clear the street, make sure everybody gets home.
Excuse me.
One of the things that I say as people are leaving out the venues, almost every night, I say, man, be smooth. Be safe. Get home safe.
Mm-hmm.
I said that to one of the individuals, rest in peace, Serge. One of his last words that he said to me, he said, "No, you be safe." And the next thing I knew,
this is what's happening.
He's getting hit. So what I want to say is the reason why we push and the reason why we clear the street, the reason why security does this, it's not to be an asshole. It's not because we're trying to ruin your good time. It's not because we don't want y'all to parking lot pimp or try to get your shot off at some girl or whatever the case may be. It has nothing to do with that. We know, the city knows, the venues know. With people that are under the influence, lingering around late at night, that's when shit goes down.
It pops.
So why are you, the more and more you linger, the more and more you're taking a chance of being caught up in a situation on what just happened this past weekend, which is exactly what just happened. We try to make it as soon as we shut the music off and the lights are on and we're pushing people out and we won't make people, get your last, bottle of water so you can get hydrated so you can get and then exit the venue so you can get home safe. And we want you to do it promptly.
Right.
The reason is because the more and more you linger around, the more chances situations like these can happen. And that's usually when they do.
Right.
This is the importance behind it. So I want people, anyone that's listening and is going to go out, understand that this is the reason why we do it. This is not coming from an asshole perspective. Now, I'm not going to speak for every guard. Some guards may, it might be delivery. It might be tone, the way they talking to you. I understand that, case by case. So let's not get anecdotal and say, hey, man, this security guard is being an asshole to me, and that's speaking for everybody. But in general, we do it politely at first.
We try.
Eventually, it gets to a point.
Anecdotal.
Exception for Tony. So we do it politely in the beginning. We understand, you getting your swerve on, you're getting your beak wet, and now you're feeling good, and you're trying to holler at somebody, you're trying to get something home or whatever, or you're trying to take the wife or the husband home and do the nasty time, whatever it may be, whatever it is, whatever you're trying to do, or wherever the after party spot is, go to that. Leave, but exit the place as promptly as possible. And the reason why, and this is a direct reason on why this is so important. And I hate that we using this type of situation to say that. And I'm so saddened and I'm so bothered that it took something like this, and hopefully it changes people's minds. But people, this is the reason why we do it.
Right.
And if you're going out, please listen and pass this message on to anybody else so that they understand
the importance.
So and to you lawyers that say you want to stand, I don't give a fuck about your credentials. I don't care when you pass the fucking bar. I don't give a damn about none of that.
Right.
Get your ass in the fucking Uber, go get you some IHOP and chill the fuck out.
Right.
So that you ain't in the crossfires of this type of situation.
You said something right there.
Or you don't set yourself up personally to be in a situation.
And also, Rob, what are the statistics on the type of shit that happens at that time?
Bro, if you go to any major city, peak crime hours are between 12 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. So that's usually when stuff is going down.
End of the night.
So when you leave at 1:30 and it's between 1:30 and 2, you want to get out.
Right.
Or leave the area in general, because that's where the most of the people are.
Don't be a statistic.
So that's what we're saying. That's the reason why it's done. That's the reason why we do it. And maybe venues and things like that have not made that as clear as we possibly can. Maybe as we security maybe have not provided those examples and reasons beforehand on why that's the reason. But if you're listening now, I know you're hearing me. That's the reason.
Right away. You said something like, about the lawyer, go get you something to eat, go to IHOP. Let's speak about that, because we're on the subject of clearing the street. And I know at a venue that I was working at, when we clear the street, right at the edge of that street, there's a what? Hot dog stand, taco stand, which makes it even that much more harder to clear in that area. Now, unfortunately, the situation in the corner that you were at, across the street from there was a taco stand, and I was in line, and I was grubbing, knowing that we're supposed to be leaving.
Hold on, how much you pay for your hot dog?
And they tried charging $10.
No.
I was like 10. I was like, bro, man, we used to get these for like 5 to 6.
Inflation has hit
Para mi
the
gente
hot
que
dog,
pueda
man.
hablar en español también. Look, I'm gonna tell you guys, talk to our peeps.
Yeah.
It needs to stop.
It does.
Because Mexico and hot dogs have nothing to do with Russian invasion. Please stop charging so much. The inflation should not affect the hot dogs. Only affects oil and gas.
Honestly,
please, y'all.
They
Please.
trying to get their money's worth, because realistically, if you don't say anything, you pay the $10. They got their 10. But if you say something like, "Yo, it was just here last week and this bitch was $7,"
I pay $5 every time.
They'd be like, "Here you go." I feel you on that. It used to be a $5 hot dog, but
speak
gas
Spanish,
prices.
it's $5.
Yeah, I feel you on that too. Right, that's a difference. But my main
I
point,
felt that same way in Mexico that time. I remember we was coming back one night, and the dude came up to me with like a Domino's pizza in Cancun, and he was like, he wanted to charge me $15 for like a medium sized Domino's pizza. I was like, man, in Sacramento, man, that thing is $7.99.
$7.99.
And then he changed his price from $15 to $4.
yeah,
I was like, okay, you waiting for the sucker.
right. Hey,
I get it. I ain't gonna knock the hustle. I
closed
get
mouth
you.
don't get
He
fed.
say, yeah, yesterday's price is not today's price. I feel you,
Man.
but to your point, that definitely does add a barrier in our job, because people is hungry at that point. They've been drinking all night.
Right.
They've been turning up. They want to have some food in them.
Sober up.
Them hot dogs or them tacos. They be smelling good after coming out. So that does provide a barrier in that situation. But let's be honest.
I want that spot. I want it open. I want it there.
Let's be honest. The demand is there,
Right.
number one.
Right.
So we got to deal with it. The other thing is, though, too, most of these situations, people ain't getting hit, man, when they waiting for the hot dog, man.
You talking about people ain't get shot or hit? What are you talking about?
That's what I mean.
But
This was a lot of these things is way after. A lot of these things are just happening because people is just lingering around. People just staying around. And I urge, if you use your ears when you hear me, people, like, if you can take any lesson from this, just leave promptly. Like that's like I can only say it so much, but that's why it's so important. But when I'm gonna let you finish.
just in general, man, there's a lot to look at and be observant about. And I know when I was out, I was messaging, obviously, my guys, and it was just things to talk about. You know, things you notice that security are doing or they're not doing, which leads me to another question. You know, do you guys feel that all security should be wanding at each one of these clubs or bars that they have security checking ID to get in?
I don't know where, or we're not sure on the details. Supposedly, they said it was in a hotel room. Some shit happened. They came down, they left, came back, and did some shit to them. So we don't know if that's the truth.
No, you're right.
We don't know. We don't know if it's that or if it's
we don't need to get into details. I mean,
right,
because
but
at the end of the day, because that's kind of irrelevant.
But
be
who
honest.
wands and doesn't wand though?
Even if we do wand,
and we got to speak to it. These things.
And which security group? Which security group?
This situation didn't happen inside the venue.
It was outside, and obviously they were in their car.
And a lot of these issues do happen outside the venue. I know at the venues I'm at, we wanded, and we wanded males and females. I don't give a damn with transgender, whichever one you identify with. It doesn't matter. You're getting wanded. You a soul. You got a heartbeat. Get over and get this wand. Give me that ID, and then if you're trying to skip the line,
get this wand.
Right.
No, if you're trying to skip this
you might
line,
be transgender, but don't have that.
What
penis
I need,
piercing.
You need that
smooth
handshake.
Man, no discretion,
and you still getting wanted.
Yeah, we don't discriminate.
Right.
So when it comes down to these type of things, you know, and if we're speaking on it, this event, no one got into the venue with any weapon on them. This is all outside. And people just having it, you know, either after the fact, pulling it from a car.
We talked about it wasn't part of the club scene.
Or whatever the case may be. You know, that's how that transpired. But we do take the precautions, and we do try to make it safe for the patrons coming in. You know, as far as wine.
But
that's why we
Winter
take it
said it's
seriously.
at all clubs though, because not everybody's CPG.
No, it's not.
Not everybody's. You know, we wand at all the clubs, right? We do. So what does that mean? So I'm just saying this because what's going to happen now after this? So are we going to just stop at? So this is what I believe. I believe that all the clubs now are going to have to end at 1.
So these are some of the ramifications that'll happen now.
What just happened? They're going to shut the clubs down at 1. Now the cops are going to enforce it, and if you're not wanding, you should be wanding. And I actually agree with that one. You should be wanding.
Yeah, but even in this situation, it kind of proved the fact that even if you were to wand, these people were already in their vehicle. So even if they did,
you're right,
even
actually,
if we did wand them, I mean, it helps prevent it from happening inside, but you can't stop what happened on the outside.
You got to separate from what sounds good and what's effective.
And that's what
at the end of the day.
I had to say it out loud because once we really look at the situation, even if we did wand them at that current point in time, it wouldn't have mattered. They were already in their vehicle. So basically, let's dive in deeper about the ramifications that will result with the violence that happened this weekend. You kind of mentioned curfew will probably be invoked a little bit earlier, and you just said 1 o'clock. That's 30 minutes for most clubs because you know they have to have everybody officially out by 2, right? So that's not bad. But
the situation that just happened was only 15 minutes long, so yeah,
I feel you on that. So you feel like just a shorter times in the club is some of the ramifications that'll come from what resulted this weekend. What About you, Rob?
I don't think the time matters, man. People gonna pop off when they want to pop off. What you need to do is be more forceful with the push, obviously from us,
right?
Getting people to clear the street. But it's also it's a lot of it's just communication too. You know, and us at the front door, making sure that we're assessing the situation, seeing what's going on. I don't think the time matters. Like, I think it's irrelevant. You can give it a curfew or anything like that, but if you're talking about solutions, you know, and you want to talk about what ramifications are going to come from this, you know, I think there's going to be a lot of gaslighting.
Right. Okay.
A lot of finger pointing.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of blaming. And they're going to want to try to blame some other outside source, whether it be they want to blame guns, whether they want to blame the gangs, whether
Blacks.
they want to blame black people, whether they want to blame just any type of thing that they want to attach to it. It could be whatever you want it to be. It could be whatever narrative that's going around. They're going to try to shift the blame on something. And it's really not focused on what the real issues are. People, you got to understand, people are going to want to go out. People are going to want to have a good time. So you're not preventing that. So now you have a situation where, okay, what can we do to prevent from what happened?
Cops.
So we can say this.
That's another one.
We can say with the cops. I think that it would be a good deterrent. The police officers themselves, them just being there, 9 times out of 10, it's going to make someone second guess about really letting off or really starting anything with them being there. Mm-hmm. Regardless how you feel about police, I really don't care. The fact that they stand in there and the fact that they're present, it's going to be a deterrent. That would definitely help. Now, that's easy to say. That costs money.
Right. So
I will say this: who's got to foot that bill?
Somebody.
The club owners got to fit that bill.
Come in collectively.
So it really comes down to this, and I want to make this definition, and I want to make this very clear, because I know there's a lot of blame going on. There's a lot of people that are blaming the club owners. There's a lot of people blaming the promoters. There's a lot of people blaming the police. There's a lot of people blaming the gang members. There's a lot of people blaming just people who go out at night. Mm-hmm. There's a whole bunch of blame going. I want to make the distinct separation between responsibility and accountability. That responsibility list is very long, and it encompasses all of us. The accountability, those are the ones who was letting go of the shots.
Right.
Those are the ones responsible. So let's not shift and say it's this group's fault, it's the owner's fault, it's the promoter's fault, it's the police fault.
The people firing.
They wasn't the ones shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think substances have anything
it's the ones that was shooting. They're the ones that need to be held accountable.
Were they on any substance?
It doesn't matter.
Who knows?
The only reason I say is because, real quick, T.J. McCarthy says cigarettes are legal, vape is legal, Mary J is legal, alcohol is legal, and you got to add one more thing: cocaine and Molly are legal. You are on 5 different substances. They weren't nothing that we didn't hear no word about.
What my boy Mo Freak say? Mo Freak.
Nobody was on anything, right?
What did Mo Freak say? The one before that, Mo Freak, my boy out here talking. What's that? Is that Malik?
We promote equality and we want everyone.
Shout out to Malik, man.
Shout out my guy, man.
Shout out Malik. He do not discriminate when it comes to the wand. I know this firsthand.
Oh man, that's my guy right there.
Direct.
Man. That's my guy.
Malik likes to show his.
You
obliques.
Got a heartbeat. Bring that ass here, boy. You about to get this wand.
Shout out to my guy Mo Freak, man. I know you was involved in everything too, man. It's glad to hear you okay.
Absolutely, man. He was out there, man.
Hey, all the security guards, man. That was all I was worried about. I only cared about what security was okay. Man. I literally did, man. It was weird. Like I think I had like 4 different numbers of girls I had to delete because someone made me delete it. But I deleted all that shit, and like I got like 4 different numbers coming to be like, "Are you okay? You be working at London." So like, the fuck, like, you know what I mean? Like it was. I respect it. It was.
I dig, man.
Right. And did you get it?
Not saying that from female. I ain't about to put myself out there like that.
Oh shit.
But I did get a whole lot of text messages and calls from phone numbers I didn't have saved in my phone.
You deleted them already.
No, I didn't delete them. I don't need to delete mine, Tony. You be over here the one you cantankerous.
I know, right? Just
but anyway, I was getting a lot of those. But back to what I was saying, with the definition and drawing that line between responsibility and accountability. The ones that were shooting is accountable. The responsibility side falls on us. And what I mean by us, everybody else. That means the club owners, you may have to spend a little bit more money on a police officer or a squad being there to prevent these type of situations from happening. The responsibility falls on the security, making sure that we pushing people a little bit harder to get people in their cars and their Ubers and things like that to get home safe. The responsibility relies upon the staff to see people who's over intoxicated, who might be causing a problem, who might be saying something that they got something on and they're going to do something, they're going to air this out or whatever. The responsibility is on the patrons to make sure that they're paying attention and that they're being responsible and listening to us. The responsibility part falls on everyone. The accountability needs to be shifting to the ones that need to be blamed for what just happened. And we need to really define that, because I'm seeing so much blame in these last 2 days, just ever since this has happened. Everybody's trying to paint their own narrative. Everybody's trying to point the finger at who's responsible. The ones that are responsible is the one to pull the trigger. Simple as that.
Very true.
But the responsibility falls on us on what we can do to prevent for us being in these situations to begin with.
So I was going to say, those are some really good exercise that really could help prevent these situations, or at least loosen it to not happening wild. So far, some things that can prevent it, as Tony said, is hiring more or having more police officers there as a deterrent.
Just put two units, two.
Yeah, and then you had a lot of things as far as pushing out correctly, the way we're talking to people, having Patriots let us know, staying alert. Do you feel like those are the best things that we could really be doing to preventing another issue like this from happening?
It's all we can do. It's literally all we can do.
Yeah,
there's nothing else we can do, bro.
Because everything else, like everything else is
like
everything else is like I said. It's going to come down to the heart.
Mm-hmm.
It's the person's heart. I don't know the person's heart that's behind that gun.
Mm.
And the only thing we can do is maybe we talking about it enough. Other forums that cover these type of things, that talk about, the community, and they're talking about people's circumstances. Maybe it might touch someone's heart that might be on that fence.
Mm.
And that's enough. If it touches one person who was thinking about pulling the trigger somewhere,
right,
that works for me, because that means that's souls that's saved.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, now and it might prevent a situation like this where we're not grieving and thinking about the people that that we just lost, and people that we just saw the last breath of.
Mm.
Like that's like I hope for that. Because until the end of time, you're not going to stop this.
Right.
You're not going to stop this violence just like that. And everybody who thinks they got a solution to it, you're full of shit. There ain't no fucking magic wand that you can just wave to end all that. It's just not.
Yeah.
Real quick question. Just going to the comments real quick. Got Dan saying the unfortunate thing is the city leaders need to institute a police vehicle provided by the city on every entertainment corner. Right now, club owners need to pay the extra for that protection. So I'm assuming it's a law that they have to actually, they're forced to have to pay. Relying on security to push block for lack of manpower, we need to see more efforts from our community leaders. More cameras, more police, more security, more protection is what Dan is basically talking about.
So
shout out to Dan, man, for chiming in, man. Appreciate you coming on and giving your opinion on this, with a valued opinion and an experienced opinion.
Very true. But what he's saying though is it's back on the club ownership, because you're right. I know the club that I was working for was willingly, knowingly paying police officers to stay there, and every night we had a stationary cop that was there. Now, if something happened,
I thought all clubs did.
I know, right? Mm-hmm. Except for this night, because when I was out there, I for sure didn't see one in sight. Are they paying what they need to pay, or do they feel like them paying security is good enough and not having to pay the police just to sit out there and be a deterrent? I mean, obviously these clubs and bars need to get on pace, and maybe because of a specific area, maybe they can all collab on getting at least 2 to 3 guards, or 2 to 3, like there has to be some type of form of communication to having those guards there.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
But I'm going to say this. There's some venues, man, that they want to shortchange on security. What the fuck you think they gonna want to spend the money on the fucking Sac PD?
Man,
they ain't gonna want to. They cheat because they don't think it's a problem.
Right.
It's a bottom line item in their expenses sheet that they don't want to have to pay, that they can't tangibly see the effects of.
Right.
That's the issue. So when it comes down to the venues, and anyone that's a club owner or a bar owner or anything like that, and you want to shortchange or you want to cut corners when it comes to these type of things, this is what you're going to be left with.
Mm-hmm.
And it may not happen to you today. It might not happen to you next weekend. But eventually you're going to be holding your shit, and you're going to be wishing that you did. So I'll say this, and this is not for any venue specifically, but I'm just speaking in general, is that you cannot cut corners with these type of things when it comes to people's lives. You are creating and cultivating an environment in which people are consuming things that are getting them under the influence. What the fuck do you think is going to happen? You have a responsibility. And period. Yeah. So when you talk about I don't want to spend the money, I say fuck you. To any venue owner or any manager or anybody that's involved with that, I say fuck you.
Right.
And that's not speaking for the venue that I work at. I will say that right now, because before we get to that, because I will say it, shout out to the owners that were there, because they was in the middle of the shit and they was out there helping us in the middle of all of that.
God damn.
So I'm gonna shout out to them, and they know who they are. But I'm just speaking in general to any club owner that's thinking about cutting a corner, or they might be thinking, you know what, security is not on my priority list.
Mm-hmm.
Think again.
And
think again.
Facts.
Right. Facts. And 100%, man, what you just said. Even right now, TJ McCarthy says security is responsible for the club and outside the sidewalks and in front of the club. He also said police, though, are responsible for the streets.
That's true.
Is what he's trying to speak to, and that's true. And that's what I believe as well, is if they had 2 units in those areas, especially units that we're used to, it's so weird that, bro, cops are parked in the exact spot where the shooting happened. That's so weird they weren't there. Just put them there every night.
Right.
It's not going to be a big deal. Say, here, stay here for 30 minutes, done, bye. You know, get there at 2, leave at 2:30, done.
Shoot, they can even close that street off, man. To have
Right.
people go a different route, man. Close it off, with a vehicle, and it makes it even look that much more better. Can treat it like it's freaking a game or something. If you have security out there like that, like a game, like a basketball game where they're closing street out and there's a presence, that one thing alone will help stop this shameless
And
violence,
also,
bro.
just to let you know, Dan, one of our speakers earlier, just said he's headed to a city meeting on Thursday. He's going to voice and loud all concerns.
Yeah, man.
So,
Shout out to Dan, man. Appreciate
for
you.
real.
Appreciate
Senseless violence that's out here, man, and there's got to be a stop to it. I'm sick of it, man. This is my city, Sacramento. I love it to death, man. I ain't been nowhere else.
bro. Think for a second. Do you not remember it happened 2 years ago? The Sawyer literally opened up pool parties for the first time.
Oh yeah,
It was amazing. We're like, thank God Sacramento has no pool parties, because Thunder Valley had them for a little bit prior,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
Charging $5. No, you need to charge 60 to 70 so them niggas don't get in. You know who I'm talking about. And it's like, look, that's what's up. Y'all got Sawyer. You about to charge $80. Do that shit. Let's go. Run it. And we still had a shooting.
yeah. It was like the first week it was
It
open.
was the first
the
day.
first fucking day. Can't have shit good, man.
In Sacramento.
And this is part of these are probably the things that are gonna happen. Like, bro, that would have been dope. Pool party on top of a roof right next to Golden One, like it was at Thunder Valley. It was lit at Thunder Valley.
Titties and Golden One letters.
Oh my God, he said titties and Golden One. Okay,
You see where they take the picture?
But you spoke about it with police, and I want to touch on that before we get to our next topic. Just based on what my experience on that night and what I saw, and I'm only going to say this from my perspective. I'm not putting this on anybody else that was there. This is only just what I viewed. I felt in those moments where we were with the ones that were wounded, that were hit, that were dying, I felt like police, and I'm not touching on what they thinking in their minds or their heart, but I'm only going on what I observed. They definitely seem more concerned with us than they did with actually helping the people that were suffering on the ground.
what do you mean? Elaborate.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to with us.
They were with the people. The people that were around. We're the ones calling them over saying, hey, you need to help this person.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get the ambulance over here, or we need to get them in your car and get, like, Sutter's less than a minute away.
Were they looking for the shooter at that time? Is that why they weren't responding to the people? Or?
When they arrived, they looked around, but it's like, you know how these things go. The shooter's gone. This is the fallout. This is the result. Obviously, we're there, kneeled down, holding these people, attending to them. Why don't we take different measures? But it's not even that. That's a decision thing. I'm more on the body language. There was one cop, man, that was more concerned with a homeless dude that was tripping. Who gives a fuck? And if you that cop that was doing that, man, like, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That homeless person ain't no goddamn threat. But you was more concerned with that homeless dude than you are with the person that's dying right in front of us. And the people that's dying right in front of us. I felt like there was some poor decisions made based on that. I felt like the body language and the feel from police was not from a let's save these people's lives or give them a chance. I'm not going to put it on them and say that, oh, if they reacted, they would have been alive. I don't want to put that on nobody because I don't know. But they damn sure would have had a better chance.
Right. I feel you. Response.
And I don't feel like that was done. I was there. I felt it. It was adversarial. We're the ones helping you. And I'm not talking about from just people that's hanging around. I'm talking about them versus security.
What you mean, them versus security? You felt like
we were there trying to direct them, saying, hey, this person's here, help us here. Mm-hmm. But it was more like, y'all need to get back, y'all need to like and they're creating this perimeter as if we're the problem. As if they're reacting as if the shooter was still there.
I got you. Okay,
like the threat is still imminent.
That's why I asked.
And maybe that's protocol. I don't know. I'll talk. We could talk to an officer and ask if that's protocol. But what I'm saying is, I'm just going based on what I experienced and what I saw and what I felt, and not from all of them, but from a lot of them. Mm-hmm. And it just, it was almost reminiscent of when George Floyd, when the protest was going on, and how adversarial it felt between law enforcement and us, and it almost resembled the same thing. And I'm like, you guys are more concerned with us,
right?
When obviously we not the shooters or anybody else that's around there, rather than with the people that's on the ground dying or that are wounded. That I have an issue with. If there's any law enforcement out there, if they want to clarify and chime in on it, if it's protocol or whatever, we'd appreciate it. I'm just going based on what I experienced that night and what I saw, and I felt like it could have been done a whole lot better, and we could have worked more as a team in trying to save these people's lives. Because at the end of the day, the event didn't happen.
Right.
Now we got to preserve life.
Right.
So TJ McCarthy says the police don't have a duty to respond. The police choose to respond.
Yeah, but even then, I'm looking at it in this standpoint, too. Even if a police officer was the first person on the scene, they probably don't have the EMT experience or the ability of reviving anyone or assets or tools. But that's just me.
Neither do I, but I'm standing there still saying, hey, he's breathing. Hey, put pressure on this wound.
Right.
Like, I don't either.
I'm just saying it because now my next question is when was EMT there? When was
25 minutes later?
Man, you can't even, That's the response team that should be there damn near first when you hear stuff like this happening. Mass shooting, they need to damn near be there. Now
I'm not putting that on EMT. I'm not putting that on fire department. I'm not putting it on nobody. I'm not putting that responsibility on anyone. I'm telling you the facts.
Okay.
That's the time frame in which these people arrived. But what I'm saying is the ones that were there, the ones of the city, the law enforcement, I felt like they could have responded a whole lot different. And not only that, their demeanor could have been a whole lot different. They seemed more concerned with the people that were around that were either grieving or crying or trying to give encouragement to the people to get up and hope that they survive. Like they were giving more energy towards them and us rather than saving the life. That's how I felt. That's how I assessed it. Now, I'm not going to say that that's what they was thinking in their heart and that's what it was in their mind and that they somehow subconsciously hoped that they passed or they didn't want to help. I'm not putting that on them. I'm just going based on what I observed. And that's my experience. And that me being there exactly in the real time, being there, I can say that. This ain't secondhand information.
Right.
This is me visually seeing what I saw.
Real quick, so what Dan says, for someone who was part of the same situation dealing with triple homicide last summer, police need to eliminate the threat first. Find the shooter, create a perimeter. EMT cannot come or enter until then. He also said until it's deemed safe, right?
We understand.
Then he says they don't allow them to come in until the threat is eliminated or detained. That's true because I have a friend named David Abdon. He's an EMT. He runs this kind of stuff. Same thing happened in Old Sac when we were part of that. I do wish that wasn't the case, lives could have been saved quicker.
What he's saying, I hear you. That's the reason why I was asking. When was EMT there? You know, were they trying to secure the perimeter? Was the threat still there? I get all that, and I'm not saying that was anything different. But what he is saying is that he is here physically.
Well, that's why EMT was there later, though, because police probably didn't deem it safe.
I can understand that. Once again, I understand it.
No one's denying that.
No one is denying that whatsoever. But what he is saying is he's here. He has, obviously, you had blood on your gloves, right, sir? Yes or no? Blood on your gloves?
The gloves is
like
in
O.J.
trash.
Simpson?
The gloves is in the trash, man.
Why? It's because he's here helping people who are still currently breathing to get somewhat of a fighting chance to surviving longer. And instead of allowing him to continue to assist, rather he's doing it right or wrong. He's assisting. He's here in the situation, and yet he was shooed away. Opposed to like he was part of the problem and needed to get out of the scene. So I understand exactly.
And
what
Dan
he's
was
saying.
concerned with the fact that the victims were waiting so long. He was.
Yeah. So
It's way too long.
yeah.
Like it's specifically one individual who a lot of us knew, and a lot of us, saw every weekend, and I just didn't feel like the importance was there for that person's life. When they could have made more attempts to get it. Like I said, I'm not putting it on law enforcement that he's the reason why. The reason why is the dude that shot him.
Right.
Look, there's a
Simply
difference
put.
between responsibility and accountability. So look, I use your ears when you hear me. In no way am I blaming the police for what happened. That's not their fault.
Right.
But there was decisions made, and I think better decisions could have been made. And I feel like in that type of situation, when you got your car there and Sutter's less than a minute away, I felt like we could have. There was another option than rather waiting.
Why didn't
for
y'all put
EMT.
them in your car, in your own cars?
Well, number one, my car is way far away. So
How far? 2 blocks? 1 block?
Shit, like 5. Well, about 3 blocks. Mine personally.
Run his ass there. Run it. Fuck it. Ain't
Yeah,
no
but
one
you
knows.
got somebody leaking.
Yeah, but
out.
then you're dealing with that.
If that was my brother or cousin or whatever,
You also got to deal with proximity. You got to deal with proximity. So you can't just say, okay, I'm gonna pick this person up and then I'm gonna carry them for 3 blocks into a vehicle and then drive them.
Right.
Yep.
So it's
someone I care for. Yep.
it comes down to and that may be that in my experience, especially if someone's suffering from multiple
I ain't losing no Rob
wounds,
Coates. He's getting my unit rep's
multiple
getting in the
wounds.
car. We going to
You want to seal the wound, number one. I know that much. But you want to get proximity, get someone in that vehicle, sealing that wound, holding that wound down, and getting them there as fast as possible. That opportunity was there. That wasn't taken. Now, like I said, that might be against protocol. I don't know that. I'm just looking at it from the position of, I see a car there. I see someone that's supposed to protect and serve. We got some people here that's hit.
Right.
And that's still breathing. So that's my side of it. But I'm not. I want to preface this again because I want to make this clear. Am I in no way blaming them for why this happened?
Right.
But I'm saying based on my experience and what I observed that night, that's what transpired, and I felt like there could have been other decisions that's made. Even outside of that, I felt the demeanor and the attitude that law enforcement was given to us was off. Period. I don't give a fuck what you say on that. You can't tell me. I don't give a fuck what your protocol is. I don't care about none of that shit. Your attitude should not be in any way upside down with us when we're the ones that trying to help the situation and trying to clear people out and trying to help people and resuscitate and seal wounds and trying to get people undercover and all these different type of things. You should not be directing that energy towards us. Period.
I feel you. I feel you there.
Or having any type of attitude whatsoever. So that part you can't excuse. I don't give a shit what your protocol is. Your protocol ain't to be no asshole to the people that's out there on the front line trying to do the shit.
Right.
Period.
Man, I'm going to say this, Sacramento, as we're getting ready to close. This senseless violence has to fucking stop. Sacramento, do you hear me when I say that shit? Do you fucking hear me when I say the senseless
Nigga,
violence
they can't do
has
shit
to
about that.
stop?
It ain't about them.
Nah, man. There's fucking ways of doing this
When
shit.
gangs are beefing.
Man, I know that nigga Ghost on the
right,
Ghost does that shit differently, strategically, and
Oh,
smart.
they'll
Man,
never-
motherfuckers know how to handle
here's
shit.
my problem with gangs. They'll never understand. They won't. They're ignorant. They'll never understand. Like, first off, they don't even know what a 401k package is.
Yes,
They don't even know what it comes to. Fidelity is willing to put your shares in different stocks. They do. Gangs aren't going to give you that shit, my nigga. Like, bro, stop being in a gang. They won't understand that shit. They will not understand that shit. Dead ass. They
I
just
get it.
won't.
Some people don't have that opportunity, though.
and we can say that. And Tony, you're not the first person to say that. There's a whole bunch of programs and institutions that are built to keep people out of gangs and things like that, or being affiliated with any type of
Gangs hate
group
niggas.
or whatever.
They hate niggas.
But that's you have to look at it from the lens of the circumstances from what you're within, and at the end of the day, it's the person's heart.
Mm-hmm.
You have to touch on that, and the only thing you can hope for is that people's words can touch on that person's heart enough to get them to course correct. That's the only thing you can do. That's the only thing you can do. You're not gonna solve it. This whole macro resolution that people be talking about that's going to solve everything. It's going to be this universal, equalizer, and this whole that's a bunch of bullshit. You have to deal with the individual, case by case. Hopefully, it touches somebody where they don't make that decision, or they feel like it's not necessary to be affiliated in that situation. They feel like they're going to be more productive. That's all you can really. That's the only thing that you can really strive to do. And if this forum or any other channel out there or anybody that's talking about it can touch on that soul to change that, then we did something. You saved a life, most likely.
Facts.
And it's not gonna come up in the stat sheet. It's not.
It'll come up in the stack sheets of you feeling good and knowing that this place is a little bit safe, man. I mean, that's the main point. It's awareness. We started this show to make sure that people are aware of what to expect when coming out to the nightclubs, And we've tried to give some of the sentimental, soft things about it, proper attire, dress wear, how to hold yourself, proper etiquette when you're in the booth. But this is another serious element of it. These things do happen. And I am so sorry to the families of the victims in this situation. It is disgusting.
Say it again, man.
I am sorry. My condolences, my prayers go out to the families having to still, to this day, answer phones, questions, relive the situation of what they're feeling every time someone calls just to check on them to see if it's okay. My heart goes out to you guys. And I am once again sorry for the way that this city has turned out and maybe turned your perspective on going out at the nightlife, going out into this situation. So my heart goes out to everybody.
But I'm going to be honest, man. When it comes down to it, I mean, I'm going to go out next week, man. For them people, I'm going to go out 100%. We shouldn't fear that shit. We shouldn't fear that. It's bullshit.
I feel you there. I feel you there.
I'm going to go out next week 100%.
I feel you.
We shouldn't fear it. 100% we shouldn't.
So what's the next topic you have?
Man, the next topic is really, because we're a little over right now, because this is a real sensitive subject. I want this shit to fucking ring, bro. I was tired of hearing about the slap heard around the world after day 3. I was tired of the videos. I was tired of the internet. Like, all right, this is over with. On to whatever's next. And then this shit happens. I'm not just moving on from this shit. This ain't just a week by week and we're going to forget about it. Fuck no. Fuck no. I want this shit to ring through Sacramento. This shit needs to change, bro. This needs to be the place where you go out, you have fun, you turn up with your people, you're dancing, you're having a blast, and you talk about that shit the next morning safe and sound, man. I don't want people afraid to go out because they feel like a shooting's going to happen. Don't fuck Sacramento up. Don't, because right now we're doing so good. So good. I'm happy for this town. And, man, this shit right here just... it hurts, bro.
One thing I do want before we bid a good night, man. During this night, I wasn't the only one there. I know I'm on the podcast. I was out there, as security doing my job, man. But I wasn't alone, man. There was a lot of us out there, and I want to
take your time.
I want to say this, man.
Thank them.
I want to thank them, but I want to speak to the patrons first before I get into that. When you go out next week or the week after or whenever, and you see a guard and you know you're downtown and you know who I'm talking about, you know which venues we talking about. We ain't bringing up names, but you know what we talking about. Say thank you
Facts.
to them.
Facts.
They was in the middle of it. We were all there. Say thank you. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about them that was with me. Man, there was dudes that was shoulder to shoulder in the middle of it, trying to coordinate, trying to resuscitate, trying to attend to people that was hurt, trying to call over for help, that was helping console people that were distraught during this whole experience based on what they was witnessing. Say thank you to these people.
Man, I know,
because a lot of us is risking our lives and putting our lives on the line, and I'm not trying to be dramatic, but they really they said, man, I ain't got none respect for the people that I work with. And that's just for me personally.
It's a thankless job.
That's just for me personally. I'm talking about just for me, the people I rock with, man, real ones. Real ones.
Y'all need
they
to
was
understand.
in it and they didn't hesitate
to jump.
And it was
preach.
I'll give him a second. Let it come out.
Like
he reliving it.
You don't understand where the importance comes from of us security. I know a lot of people look at it as just there's someone just standing there. But man, the people I was working with, active. Active. Helping people. Not folding. Strong people. So if you're listening, thank you. The rest and the ones that's listening and the guys I work with, they already know. It's already understood.
You said it previous episodes, man. This is a thankless job. No one's thinking to thank security. There was over 100 shots fired. Over 100 bullet cases found on the ground. And you got you. Thank you. I know I called you. I had some sentiment words because we've all been there, but nothing like what you just went through. The man got hit by a car, bro. He got hit by a car because he was trying to help protect other people, putting people undercover. He got hit by a car during this accident, trying to help somebody. Thank you, Rob, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure these are stories that no one's ever going to know. No one's probably ever going to thank you. Probably the people that you helped will, a handful of people. But, bro, this security gig is a thankless job. We are the first line of defense, and I know you've heard us say that in previous episodes if you watch. We are the first people to respond in these situations. I need you to walk into the club and thank every damn security guard that walks in there that you see. Just thank him. Like, hey, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Oh, what you thanking me for being here. It may not be today. It may not be tomorrow. It may not be next week that you help me personally, but there will be a week when we're expecting you to be the superhero for these fucking super goblins. What are they called? Super gremlins?
Super gremlins, my nigga.
Fucking guys.
We got to stop these super gremlins.
Fucking guys.
Man,
hey, thank you.
Just specifically, I know we did the moment of silence, man. Just again, man, rest in peace, Serge, man. You know, just my experience. I don't care about anybody else's experience.
So what?
You know, he was always respectful to me. Always, you know, super chill dude.
He's a good man.
And I just condolences to his mom, his wife, his kids. That's it.
I'm going to go ahead and say their names, and I am going to botch them. I'm sorry. I'm horrible at this shit. But, man, I feel like their names need to be stated. Not just Sergio Harris. You have Melinda Davis, Devazia Turner, Joshua Lakeshi, Jatoya or John Toya. How you pronounce that? Jantoya.
They're all playing
Alexander.
Right now. All of them are playing.
Perfect. Yamail Martinez, Andrade. Thank you. I am sending my prayers and condolences to you guys' family.
It's bullshit.
You guys are leaving loved ones behind, kids behind that probably ain't even fully grown, that will barely remember their loved ones that are passed away. Bro, that's tough.
And don't forget about the ones that were wounded. That were some in critical condition,
still fighting for their life.
To their families' support. Hopefully, they pull through and they're able to make it. But again, Sacramento, it's going to start with the heart, and I hope it. Like I said, anybody else that's listening, anybody that's really in this world, that's thinking about pulling that trigger and doing something in the middle of this, man. I just hope they think twice about it and understand that. This is what can be left behind, and this is not what we want Sacramento to be. We don't. This is not the image. Sacramento's trying to take a different route, and it's trying to pick itself up. Coming out of COVID and stuff like that.
Right.
That's already hurt enough small businesses and just businesses in general. And again, I can't stress enough for the guys that I work with, and everybody's got complaints. We all got nitpicks and stuff like that. But when this went down, I will never forget the ones that was there. I will never forget the ones that was in the middle of it, that was helping people, that we were all attending and trying to get people to get the cover and trying to assist law enforcement to a degree and helping them doing what they needed to do and get EMT in there and trying to, get assistance over. And, I'm just not going to forget that. It's just something I'm not going to forget. Mm-hmm. And they know who they are.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody. Once again, this was a real sensitive topic to talk about today. If you do follow us, you know that we were out. You know that we're out. You know where we work. I'm pretty sure that this will be talked about multiple weeks down the road. I understand that we have someone in custody, which is great. I'm glad that they at least found one person in custody. I'm glad because
that nigga's gonna snitch.
I'm hoping. I pray and hope they put the squeeze on him, because real talk, man, these motherfuckers need to be brought to justice.
Right. Fuck them.
Straight up. So I hope that the investigation continues to go well. But at the same time, y'all, man, this is Sacramento, and if you call this anything your home, and if you call anything less than your home, man, then you shouldn't be fucking around in here, because this is Sacramento, man. We do things a lot different.
I'm not even from here, and it doesn't matter. I live here.
You live here. Let me ask you this question: how long you been here?
More.
10 years.
He only listens to E40.
I say that because
So I almost, it's getting close now to almost half my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's getting close there. So, but I preface it is whether you from here or not. I don't care if you just moved here.
Make it yours.
Why wouldn't you want your city to be better?
Right.
Why wouldn't you want your city? It doesn't matter what you like.
Right.
I'm not from here. I grew up in South Richmond.
That doesn't mean
but that doesn't excuse. But I live here now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And anybody else that's moving over here, I'm living here. Right. Why wouldn't I want it to thrive?
Man,
if I didn't give a damn, I'd move somewhere else.
Hold on. That don't mean you have to be a Kings fan. You can stay a Lakers fan.
This guy.
Oh yeah.
This guy over here, man.
We
Man,
ain't never switching that.
If you from Sacramento, you got to
Now,
up it all the way.
I was all in favor of them getting the stadium because that affects businesses and that helps Sacramento grow and all of that type of stuff. Yeah, they just got a new stadium where they can lose in. Anyway,
this nigga right here in the show, nigga. Y'all niggas just talking way too much shit right now. Nigga, are we doing better than the Lakers right now?
Man, even that, bro, man. Dead clocks right twice a day, man.
Nah, man. We're gonna end this show with a thank you for everybody who tuned in, everybody who chatted in live.
Yeah, appreciate everybody that tuned in, man.
We thank you guys. We want to
Thank y'all, man.
Once again send our prayers and our hearts, our condolences go out to those family members that were lost in this senseless act. And we thank you guys for tuning in to About the Night. You know where you can find us. Obviously, Tony WSJR_official. You got my boy Suede _like_Coates. King of Sacramento. Let's not forget about my guy War Ready with a 3 instead of an E.
Here in spirit, man.
Here in spirit, man. I know he on the plane right now, but
shaking the sand off his feet.
Facts. He tuned in though, man.
Shaking sand off his dick.
Tune in every week, Monday, 9:30. Did you just say he was shaking it off his dick? Hold on, time out. I can't even end on that note. What's he got his? Well, tell me why he got his dick in the sand, bro.
Nigga, I don't know. He want to have sex on the beach. He might have had sex on that goddamn beaches in Cancun.
Thank you guys for tuning in to About the Fucking Night.
What if you had a sex on the beach drink right next to you? Hey, that's life.
Double entendre. About the Night, guys. Episode 17. Downtown Fallout. Man, let's let this bitch ring, man. Thank you guys for tuning in.
RP to our lost and wounded, man.